Hey, my fellow anglers and friends. Welcome back to the channel, your go-to spot for the hottest fishing insights and forecasts. I'm your resident fishing buddy and expert, ready to break down what's biting and why. This week, we're diving deep into the fishing conditions for the upcoming period from the 8th to the 14th of September 2025. And let me tell you, this week is shaping up to be a real mixed bag, full of challenges and incredible opportunities across our great waters. So stick around because you won't want to miss these tips. All right, let's talk about the theoretical base, what's actually happening out there that will affect our fishing. First up, the weather. For our region, September is generally a transitional month, and this year looks to be no exception, with overall temperatures expected to be a couple of degrees cooler than average for the month, hovering around 57 degrees Fahrenheit. We're also looking at slightly above average precipitation for September as a whole, about 3.5 inches, but for our specific week, things get really interesting. We're anticipating some quite unstable conditions, particularly from the 8th through the 11th of September. Expect to see severe thunderstorms rolling through with the potential for even a tornado outbreak in some areas. This means we'll likely experience sharp drops in atmospheric pressure, strong shifting winds and heavy rainfall. After the 11th, from the 12th to the 15th, these storm systems are expected to clear, moving east. This will bring us into a post-front situation with clearing skies, potentially cooler air, and more stable atmospheric pressure. Remember, friends, these rapid changes in pressure can really put the fish off, making them lethargic and less willing to bite. Now let's talk water temperature, a critical factor this time of year. As we move further into September, our lakes and rivers will generally continue their cooling trend after the summer heat. In the Great Lakes, for instance, early September, water temperatures typically range from about 55 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, with warmer pockets in the shallower bays and western parts of lakes like Erie and Michigan. However, a recent study, hot off the presses from September 2, 2025, suggests our Great Lakes are entering a new era of temperature extremes, meaning we could see more rapid fluctuations, including both warm spells and cold snaps. This means fish are constantly adapting, and we need to adapt our tactics too. Generally, cooler water tends to perk up the metabolism of many predatory fish, signaling the start of their fall feeding frenzy, but sudden drops will send them deep. And of course, we can't forget about the moon phase. This week starts right after the full moon, which was on the 7th of September, so on the 8th, we'll be in the waning gibbous phase, with nearly 100% illumination, gradually decreasing as the week progresses. By the 14th, we'll hit the last quarter moon, with exactly 50% illumination. Many anglers believe that the full moon, while often associated with good night fishing, can make daytime fishing challenging as fish feed under the cover of moonlight. As the moon wanes towards the last quarter, some consider this a prime time for consistent biting, especially if other conditions stabilize. It's a popular theory, and in my experience it often holds some truth, especially during periods of stable weather. Speaking of stability, let's consider the overall activity of our finned friends. September is prime time for what many of us call the fall feeding frenzy. As water temperatures continue to drop, fish sense the approaching winter and start to aggressively feed to build up their fat reserves. This makes species like walleye, both largemouth and smallmouth bass, and northern pike incredibly active. Panfish, such as crappie and bluegill, will also be schooled up and feeding heavily. However, with the expected volatile weather early in the week, this activity might be suppressed or sporadic. Once those storms pass and the weather stabilizes, we should see a significant increase in aggression. Now, for the good stuff, let's talk specific species and tactics. Based on these conditions, here are a few of my top picks for the week and how to approach them. First up, let's target the mighty walleye. With the general cooling trend, walleye will be actively searching for baitfish. During the unstable days early in the week, they'll likely retreat to deeper breaks, main lake points, and submerged humps, seeking stable temperatures and shelter from strong winds. Look for them in depths of 15 to 30 feet, especially near structures that offer an ambush point. As the weather clears and stabilizes later in the week, especially during low-light conditions like dawn and dusk, they will move on to shallower feeding flats, say 5 to 15 feet, to chase bait. For tackle, a jig and minnow combination is almost always a winner for walleye, especially when they're a bit sluggish. Try a 1/4 to 1/2 ounce jig in chartreuse or orange. Trolling crankbaits that mimic baitfish like shad or perch along those deeper breaks can also be incredibly effective, especially if you can find a pressure front passing through. Those quick drops can sometimes trigger a short, aggressive bite. Remember, walleye are light sensitive, so cloudy days or low light are your friends, even more so around the full moon period. Next, the always exciting largemouth and smallmouth bass. In our region, both species will be transitioning with the cooler water. Largemouth will still be tightly associated with cover. Think thick weed lines, fallen timber, lily pad fields, and around docks in 5 to 12 feet of water. They're opportunistic, and with the cooler temps, they'll be feisty. Smallmouth, on the other hand, will prefer clearer water, rocky structures, and deeper points, often in 10 to 25 feet. During the stormier days, they might pull back to the deeper edges of their typical haunts. Once the high pressure settles in, both species will get aggressive. For largemouth, a Texas-rigged soft plastic worm or a jig and pig combo worked slowly through cover is deadly. If they're active, a spinnerbait or a shallow-running crankbait can draw reaction strikes. For smallmouth, try finesse tactics like drop-shotting a small worm or tube jig on rocky ledges. Or if they're schooling up, casting a small jerkbait or a blade bait can provoke furious bites. Pay close attention to wind-blown points. Baitfish often get pushed there, and the base won't be far behind. And for those seeking a true predator, let's talk northern pike. September is fantastic for pike in our waters. They become incredibly aggressive as the water cools, bulking up for winter. You'll find them patrolling the edges of weed beds, especially where there's a sharp drop-off into deeper water, or lurking around submerged timber and rock piles. These ambush predators will be actively hunting for tackle. Think big and flashy. Large spoons in silver or gold, big spinner baits with tandem blades, or swim baits that imitate perch or suckers are excellent choices. Cast them along weed lines and retrieve them erratically to mimic a wounded baitfish. During the stormy, low-pressure days, they might be deeper, hugging structure, so try slower retrieves or even large dead baits on a quick-strike rig if that's allowed in your area. As the weather clears, they'll move shallower and be more willing to chase. All right, friends, let's break down the week, day by day, and give you a clear picture of what to expect. Monday, September 8th. Today we're starting the week right after the full moon, which can be a tricky time, and with those severe thunderstorms on the horizon. My forecast for the bite is weak to capricious. The rapidly dropping atmospheric pressure and the onset of storms will likely put the fish off. Focus on deeper, more stable areas and look for a very short feeding window before the worst of the weather hits. Keep your presentation slow and subtle. Tuesday, September 9th. With severe thunderstorms continuing across our region, the bite will likely remain weak, possibly absent. The turbulent conditions, strong winds, and extreme pressure changes will keep most fish hunkered down. This might be a day for tackle maintenance or planning for better days ahead. If you do venture out, focus on heavily structured areas that offer maximum shelter. Wednesday, September 10th. Still dealing with the tail end of those storm systems for some, but a transition day for others. I'd rate the bite as capricious to average. As the storm front begins to pass, some fish might respond to the clearing, but the lingering effects of unstable pressure will still be felt. This is a day for patient angling. Look for fish starting to move out of their deepest hideouts, but don't expect consistent action. Thursday, September 11th. The storms are clearing and we're entering a post-front period. Initially, the bite might be average, leaning towards good as the day progresses. The air will likely feel cooler, but with increasing stability in pressure, fish will start to recover and consider feeding. Focus on deeper edges and then gradually shallower as confidence builds. Walleye and bass might start to become more active. Friday, September 12th. With clearing skies and stable atmospheric pressure setting in, The bite is looking good. Fish will be more comfortable and actively feeding after the tumultuous start to the week. This is a great day to target those transition areas for bass and walleye, and pike should be aggressively chasing. Expect consistent action if you find the right spots. Saturday, September 13th. This is shaping up to be an excellent hound day for fishing. Stable, pleasant weather, fish recovering from the front, and the general fall feeding patterns in full swing. All species should be active. Focus on areas with good baitfish presence. Those predatory instincts will be running high. Experiment with faster retrieves and more aggressive presentations. Sunday, September 14th. We close the week with the last quarter moon and generally stable, clear conditions. My forecast is for a good to excellent bite. Similar to Saturday, fish will be very active, taking advantage of the favorable conditions to feed up. This is a perfect day to try different techniques and explore new spots. The last quarter moon phase often brings consistent feeding, and with the stable weather, it should deliver. So there you have it, friends, a detailed look at what's coming our way from the 8th to the 14th of September 2025. This week really emphasizes the importance of paying attention to those weather fronts and pressure changes. Adapt your tactics, stay safe, and enjoy every moment on the water. I want to wish each and every one of you tight lines and nothing but success. Ni kwosta, ni cheshuyi. If you found this forecast helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Now for my favorite part, hearing from you. What are your plans for fishing this week? Are you seeing any early signs of the fall bite in your neck of the woods? And what's your go-to lure when the pressure drops after a big storm? Let me know in the comments below. Your insights make this community awesome. Until next time, keep those lines wet and those reels singing.